Hi guys, Michael here. Today I'll show you how I use ordinary house plants in the fish tanks. I find this surface area where water meets land or air quite interesting. Combining densely planted tanks with floating plants and plants above the surface add to the nature aquarium jungle vibe. Water is the source of life on this planet, and some of the most fertile, lush and ecologically diverse areas in natural ponds, lakes, creeks and rivers are found in the transition zone between land and water. In your aquarium, you can mimic the shoreline vegetation with common houseplants. They will act like a biological filter and use a lot of nitrates and other waste products in the water. And they will provide shelter for fish under overhanging leaves and in the mess of roots underwater. They will furthermore help to clean the air in the room using the CO2, kind of a win-win situation. Actually, I find the label houseplant is just as incorrect as aquarium plants. Both of these types of plants are just that, plants. Some thrive underwater and some above. And originally, they all came from nature. But since the term houseplant is what most of us use on plants that are kept in our living rooms and on our windowsill, that is what I'll use throughout this video. Though you usually buy a houseplant in pots with some kind of soil, most plants can grow without soil. As long as they have access to water, nutrients, oxygen, CO2, light and the right temperature. All of which is readily available in an aquarium. Growing plants in water alone is called hydroponic culturing. Most indoor plants can grow in water, but not all thrive equally well. The houseplants I use in my tanks are pothos, monstera, this version is called the monkey mask, Syngonium, Calathea, different kind of ferns, Ficus pumila, peace lily, and Irisine Herbsty red star. But there are dozens of plants that will do equally well with the roots down in your fish tank. You can place houseplants in water in any way you want. I started by adding pots behind the aquarium. I just placed a pot with soil in a small container behind the tank. After a few weeks, the plant started sending roots down into the water. And soon they started running from one tank to another, creating a random chaos of growth that actually looked a lot like nature. Nowadays, I mostly just put the plants into the tank. First job though is to get rid of the soil. You don't need any of that stuff in your water. Take the plant out of the pot. Rinse the root in a bucket of lukewarm water or use a hose. Make sure you get rid of all the soil. After that, you can divide most potted plants into several smaller plants. Then you need to secure the plant in the aquarium in some way. I use all kind of methods for that. The important part is that you only have the roots underwater and the rest of the plant above the surface. You can attach plants to driftwood or other structures in the tank, or just stick the plants down in the back corners of your aquarium lid if you have one of those on your tank. Probably the easiest method is to use some kind of a plant holder. All kinds of DIY holders can be used. Our son Casper has made some for us using his 3D printer. But you can find lots of different plant holders on Amazon. I'll put some links in the text below. When the plants are in the water, they'll use a couple of days adapting to the new environment. After that, they'll grow like crazy. Some plants like Monstera and Pothos run from one tank to another in our rack and send their roots down in the water wherever they go. Naturally, you need some light as well. In our rack we use cheap outdoor floodlights on 10 to 20 watts. I prefer the white balance to be in the 5000 to 6000 Kelvin range. You can also find link for those in the text below. These lights are placed 6 to 15 inches above the aquarium, leaving enough space for lots of houseplants in that gap. We do have a window in the room, but most of the time the blinders are down, since it is facing south. The plants make do with the aquarium lights. Since the leaves can dry out and burn a little bit when they reach all the way up to the lamp, using a spray bottle to mist the leaves 1 or 2 times per week can refresh your plants and keep them happy and thriving. If you're running fully planted tanks underneath the houseplants, make sure that the immersed plants don't shade out your submerged plants too much, or use up all the fertilizers you add. Trim back the houseplants if needed. It's all about finding the right balance between surface plants plants above and below the surface, and the livestock you keep in the tank. I've seen some posts from aquarists worrying if some of the houseplants could be poisonous for their fish and shrimps. In my opinion, that's a myth. Some houseplants can contain toxins, but some of our aquarium plants do as well. Point is that our small aquatic friends will have to eat several pounds of plant matter to feel any kind of effect. And that's not likely to happen. So by all means, go ahead. Houseplants can add an extra dimension to your aquarium hobby, and they make everything looking fantastic while they clean your water. Try them out in your own aquarium. Okay, that's all for today. Thanks for watching.